Three, two, one.
Here we go!
Good morning. Welcome to Scott and Michael in the morning. So usually we do a Scott and Ronnie show. We haven't done one in a while, but Ronnie is taking one of her sons to college today, which is so cool, up at Liberty University. So she is out of town, but we wanted to go ahead and take the opportunity to catch a lot of you guys up and be able to explain a little bit more about a brand new hire we have at Crosswinds. This is Mr. Michael Hall.
That's me.
Well done.
Thank you.
As you can see, he already fits in with the staff. So I wanted to kind of explain a little bit of how we got to this place, why we're making this change, a little bit of personal stuff for me. Michael will share his story and where he's come from and his experiences and all that good stuff. But for a long while now, I've just felt like God changing my heart as far as where my place is in ministry. And so I do want to say this up front. Because what you're going to hear is that, that I want to move out of worship and blah, 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 blah. That's not necessarily true. I have enjoyed every second of leading worship here, and I absolutely cannot wait to do it again. But because God has also put other passions on my heart, that just takes a lot more time. And so it was just a lot more responsible for the church to bring in somebody to take over the worship leading, and that allows me then to fulfill other passions that God has laid on my heart. I've been personally playing professional music for exactly 30 years. I started playing bass and orchestras professionally when I was 14. And so there's a little bit of wear and tear that comes along with that as well.
Definitely.
Michael, I mean, you've been playing for a while, and your hands hurt.
Not 30 years.
Not 30 years.
No.
Barely 30 years old. That's. We're gonna finish with the young jokes here pretty soon, but yeah, just a little bit of wear and tear on that, and just again, more importantly, it's about what God is calling me toward. Really, just caring more and more and more about this amazing community that we get to live in, that we get to do ministry in, and just wanting to see that transform. Plus, add on top of that, the church is growing. Things are going really well here, and that means that with more people becomes more responsibility on all of our parts, more activities, more resources, more ways to get out and serve our community. And so that's what I've been feel like I've been led to do in these days.
And you excel at it. Seeing you in the community ministries and whatnot, it's very obvious, I think, to everybody looking from the outside that has become your primary passion. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that worship is not still one of those passions or one of those gifts, but there's definitely been a shift visible from the outside.
Yeah. And Michael can say that because, even though Michael's new to most of you guys, he's not new to me, he's not new to our staff. I've known Michael for a number of years.
Gotta be 10 years.
Yeah. We didn't always connect on a routine basis. It was more of we just knew each other, and we would cross paths once in a while through the worship world and just through the ministry and church world. Yeah. But about 8 months ago, Michael and his wife started coming to church here, and he'll tell you more about that in a second. And we reconnected our friendship and just realized that we're probably too similar.
Yeah.
So that we're gonna butt heads a little bit, but in a very healthy and positive way. But more importantly, I think that we're gonna co-work together and just really help to move this whole thing forward. So Tell us a little bit about you, Michael.
There's not a lot to know. I've grown up primarily in this community. A lot of you may know me and my family through a bunch of mutual connections, but I've really relatively not been playing music that long. It's probably been only since about 2010, 2011 that I really got serious. I've always been involved with music, sound, and worship as a connection of that. I started running sound for churches when I was 9, through necessity more than anything. But I always thought that was where I was going to be in church ministry, just the sound and tech side of things. But in 2010 or so, God really started changing that in me, and honestly, against my will, sort of threw me to the forefront and up in front of people, which is where I've typically been very uncomfortable. But it happened, and it sort of blossomed, and I made a point to increase my skill, and was not a leader at first, became a leader sort of through natural progression of things, and have had the honor really of working with a number of different churches all across the state, really, in leading their teams and helping them on weekly basis as either fill in or, you know, for special conferences and whatnot, as well as having a home church here that I led at for 12 years or so, probably, and recently resigned that position. And like he said, it was probably about 8 months ago that my wife and I we found ourselves visiting churches, which was a very unusual circumstance for us to be in.
Trust me, I know unusual. I had to sit in the audience Sunday.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, my father is a pastor and always has been as long as I can remember. So we've been in church every time the doors were open, and so not being involved was a shock for sure. And Scott would catch me many Sundays standing here just you know, critiquing and wondering, you know, well, if I was up there, what would I do? And I think that probably...
Or giving me the stink eye when I'm missing notes.
I don't do that.
Every time?
Every time. So now that role is reversed, and he gets to do that to me, and he did Sunday, very overtly. But I'm just excited to be able to plug in here. My wife Robin and I, we started coming here, and we found it to be like home, which I think is what most of you feel like. That coming here, there was a very natural feeling to it. I told the staff in meeting the other day that everybody here is very accessible, very authentic, and that helped us very quickly feel comfortable in this space. And then you put on top of that we do have a pre-existing relationship that we're able to build on now and expand, and I'm excited about that opportunity as well.
Yeah, and I think that so like Pastor Chris and I said Sunday, for me this has been about a 7-year process, really thinking about the past 3 years, but also because I never lost the passion to lead worship. It was never a rush. It was a let's wait for the right person. Yeah. We had talked to some other people, and it just wasn't right. We didn't feel comfortable with it. And Michael, his vision for the worship team, his heart for worship, even down to a lot of the style that you bring, is just perfect for Crosswinds, we believe. And so,
and a lot of it's not all that different,
right,
which is a good thing. It's
right.
not going to shock anybody. It's, you know,
right.
We're not turning everything on its head.
Right.
It was sort of just a very natural, you know, move you out and move me into that slot, and the team has been fantastic, and there's really been, at least from my perspective, very minimal friction, which is great.
Well, yeah, which is amazing. And so like I said, that timing just worked out great. The personality worked out great. The way that you meshed right away with all of the staff. Because I'll tell you, as a staff, you know, you have people come and go, and over the long haul, and you know, you have healthy times and unhealthy times. And right now, man, I've been on staff from day one, and I can easily say this is the healthiest place our entire staff has been in a long, long time. And it's just getting better, and Michael was just a natural part of that. And so we really feel God's hand all over this.
Yep.
I think on both sides.
Yep.
And we're excited. And so we're gonna be working together for probably the next year or two. I'll still have my hands in it. I'll still dabble and ask questions. And but Michael is the worship leader of Crosswinds Church, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
And I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So anyway, we just want to kind of give you a little bit more of the backstory, and if you guys have questions, feel free to comment, feel free to email either one of us, and we would love to talk you through what's going on, not only just in the worship, but for me, for what our community is. We're about to hit the ground running with a lot harder pace, and so we're excited about both areas just really exploding here in the church.
Definitely.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us on. You got to sing it with me.
I'm not gonna.
Scott and Ronnie in the morning. See you later. I'm not gonna.